I think we are live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by Georgetown Branch number 5520, where we're here to educate, motivate, and activate. We're going to definitely be talking about that verdict for the Rittenhouse trial, the impact it's had on the community. Um, and we're also going to be talking about some updates and impacts with the children. If you would please go ahead and just share this link out to your Facebook page so that others can see what we're about to talk about. We're going to bring on our panel of guests and we're going to go ahead and hash this out. So, in the meantime, stay tuned.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to put a hand of protection.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Spotlight. We are going to be talking about the Rittenhouse verdict as well as the COVID updates and impacts in our communities. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into introducing our panel. We have our first VP and Youth Advisor, Mr. Deontay Winchester. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, good people? Good to be here.
Good. And our President, Mr. Marvin Neal.
Good morning, Ebony, Deontay. It's good seeing you all again.
You too. And let's go ahead and just jump straight into it because I realize that there's a lot of talk right now, a lot of emotions running high about this Rittenhouse verdict that was given last night. I think that no one was surprised, but just listen at what the Fox News has to say about this whole thing. I think while they go ahead and get their advertisements out the way, if you are viewing this, we appreciate you. Go ahead and share this to your page.
All right, so that's it. The trial of Kyle Rittenhouse is over on all 5 counts. The jury unanimously found him not guilty, and he is now a free man to go about his business. Let's bring in Andy McCarthy again, who's been watching this from beginning until the very end. It's clear that the jury sided with Kyle Rittenhouse, that he was, in fact, trying to defend himself on August the 25th, 2020, from attacks, which is why 2 people are dead, a 3rd wounded. Andy?
John, this is a just verdict, and I think it's a moment that people should take a little bit of pride in our justice system, because I thought, for what it's worth, having watched trials for a very long time, the prosecution's case was not particularly strong. The self-defense claim was very strong. It seemed to be verified by the video evidence and corroborated by the testimony, not just the testimony of the defendant. And yet a jury of 12 Americans, the peers of this defendant, gave what was obviously very careful analytical attention for over 30 hours to a claim by the state that Rittenhouse was responsible for 2 murders, 2 attempted murders, and an episode of endangerment. So I would say people should come away from this thinking this is a day that our system worked, because it reached a just result after what was obviously very careful attention. And people should take it for what it is and what it isn't. What it means is the state was not able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that these criminal charges should hold. That is, that this young man was a murderer. It's not a morality play. It's not an award for him. It's not a statement by the society that what happened here was good. It's not indifference to the fact that people lost their lives here. It's simply a fact that the justice system was not able to show evidence that would have warranted conviction here. And when
All right, let's go ahead and just stop it there. What can you say about that? And audience, if you're viewing, whatever you're thinking right now about that clip that was played just now from Fox News, put it out there in the chat section so we can see what you thought of it. But let's go ahead and anybody jump in. Deontay, Mr. Neal, anybody, what do you have to say about what that guy just said about the verdict?
Well, let's start with the trial itself, and then we'll get into his commentary. I don't know if the viewers were following the trial very closely at all, or if they were even engaged in what was going on. But if you even paid minute attention to it, you would see that the judge in this case was, in my opinion, not indifferent at all. He was certainly leaning towards the defendant from the very beginning. And there was actually 7 counts in this case. 2 of the counts were dismissed. Count 5 was dismissed. I'm sorry, count 6 was dismissed, which was possession of a dangerous weapon by a person under 18. The young man was 17 when this incident occurred. So how do you dismiss that case? Never even went to the jury. Dismissed by the judge. Okay. And then you have count 7, failure to comply with an emergency order from a state or local government. There was a curfew that was put in place during this this whole ordeal. And there were a bunch of individuals who did not comply with that. So I don't have a problem with this one being tossed out, because then you would have to go and find everybody that was out there protesting or whatever. I get that one. But how do you throw out the gun charge? You have a young man, not young enough to own or possess this weapon, traveling across state lines with it for a purpose. Nobody intentionally picks up a gun and goes across state lines if they don't already know what they plan to do with that weapon. And that's to cause harm to someone else. Right? It doesn't matter what you say or how you put it. Ain't no reason that young man had an assault rifle if he didn't intend to use it.
That's exactly right.
So that's where I want to start. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
So, based upon what you said, I mean, I could not have said it any better than that. It doesn't make any common sense of what has happened, especially when it comes down to the gun charges for a gun that wasn't registered. Yeah. You know, when you start putting the facts together, it's just absolutely unbelievable at the verdict. And I agree 100% with you. You know, it shows you what being white in America can do for you. It goes to show you that your skin complexion, and even, you know, down to what was said on the Fox News and how they came off with it. They're celebrating about this thing. Yeah. You know, he said he thought that the judicial system in this case showed that it works, which is a slap in the face to so many Americans, a slap in the face to the victims of the families who were injured, who were killed at a protest. You know, this guy had this gun and walked straight through the police, almost as if it was almost.
And they didn't look at him twice, did they?
No.
Now juxtapose that against someone like Tamir Rice, I believe 12 years old, playing around with a toy gun. If you look at it, it's obvious that it's a toy gun, but he gets shot and killed. Now, one was by police, one was by a citizen, but still, this is America. You got a 12-year-old young black boy getting shot for a toy gun, and you got a 17-year-old boy walking around with the real AR-15 after having shot and killed 2 people and seriously harmed others, right? Walk right by police, and they don't look at him twice. What does that say about us as a people?
Mr. Neal?
What it says, based on Fox News and the climate of America right now, what it says, it's all right to carry an AR-15 or any weapon of that type. and claim self-defense and shoot people. It's really, the system is set up to go back to the old Wild Wild West theme, but if we were to get caught in that same situation, that there was a black man carrying that weapon, it would have automatically been a conflict with police, them coming up on the scene. If he was not shot. Just look at Walter Scott, and Trayvon Martin, totally innocent. But this guy, his mother dropped him off underage with a weapon. So it's almost like the intent was for him to come and live out his Fox News dream, or his dream of guns rights, and claim self-defense. He killed 3 people. He killed 3 people. Why was that gun even there? Why was he even there?
Well, you brought up a really good point, and I want us to kind of, if you could, Mr. Neal or Deontay, jump in. You were saying that the mama dropped him off.
Yeah, the mama dropped him off.
Keep in mind, the mama, he's in the passenger seat. The mama pulls up to a protest and drops her minor, her underage son, with an AR-15 off illegal to go into AR-15. The crowd. Illegal, thank you. AR-15 off. What does that say about what people are being taught in their homes? What does it say about the parent? I'm surprised the parent wasn't even charged.
Well, there's still a civil case going to come out of this anyhow, and she needs to be charged, because that is totally negligence and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. That's just blunt negligence. Then the gun is illegal, because he don't even have the right to purchase a gun at 17, especially an AR-15 in no state. That's why it's so challenging now for America to try to figure out where are we going with this situation. We have opened the gate of hate and just flat out violence against people of color. And he wasn't there to kill who he killed. He was there to kill black folks. You just got to see it. He was there to kill black people.
Absolutely.
Bottom line. But it just turned the other way, because America is no longer is that black and white America. Some just have to get on board. America is America now, and the minority is whites. And that's what they're challenged with. That's why these gun laws been unleashed. And it wasn't unleashed because they want people of all race to be a part of that. It was unleashed because they put federal judges in place to do the same thing that judge just did there. And that was the most ignorant judge I've seen in my life. I don't know how that guy could have been on the bench, but It tells you what we have done. And the climate of the Donald Trump have set the tone for America and stuff to do the things that they've done. It just don't make any sense.
I agree. It's like a Trumpster. It's basically, the Trumpsters, unfortunately. We thank you all for viewing today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown branch number 5520. If you are just now joining us, we are talking about the Rittenhouse verdict. If you have any comments about what you think of that trial, go ahead and post it. We'd like to share that with everyone. Go ahead, Mr. Neal.
And if we are not careful, Ebony, this is the setup for what's to come in Ahmaud Arbery case and other case to come. You even have a case right in Conway right now we have to keep an eye on. The Paul Michaud case. These cases are coming forward, and this could be the presence that's set, for those cases. So it tells us we got to keep our eyes open, be vigilant, and be boisterous, because nothing's going to change until you get out there and talk about it, yell about it, protest about it. Whatever you have to do, stand on the judge's head, whoever head. But we have to make sure that these things are not accepted, and we shouldn't accept it, whatever race it is. And right now it's dealing with the white race, but it's still wrong. Wrong is wrong. Dr. King said it clear. Injustice anywhere is a call for justice. So we need to call for justice. And that's what's happening in the streets right now in Wisconsin. And it's going to get louder.
I think we need to look at these self-defense laws in every jurisdiction, because it's almost as if when these trials come about, the only thing that they look at is what happened the moments before the shot was fired. Nothing else matters. What happened right then? What led up to that point, right? They
Right.
want to say, well, the gentleman was trying to go for his gun. Okay. Taken in a vacuum, maybe that's a reason for self-defense. But why was that man going for his gun? Was he threatened first? And in that case, does he not have a right to defend his own life? We
That's
have to
true.
take a very close look at this in every state, because this thing is coming to a head. And like Mr. Neal said, it's going back to the Wild Wild West. And it don't make no sense, because I hate to tell you, society, but white folks ain't the only ones with guns. It's gonna get ugly. I don't want to see it.
Right.
I really don't. So we got to take a look at this thing and get it to a point where everybody just understands that we just got to respect each other.
Right.
That's what it all
Right.
comes down to. Why can't we just respect each other?
Right.
Why we got to fight every time something goes down? Why a peaceful protest turned into people getting killed for no reason other than a gentleman decided to go from a state to a different state to come and cause trouble. And if he didn't want to cause trouble, he wouldn't have brought that gun with him.
Well, also just think about it. Even in this Rittenhouse situation, it was like, well, why would you leave your home where you were already safe? Okay, to go out there with the AR, you got your mom to drop you off. His reasons were because there was a call, a cry out for business owners to protect their businesses, and that's what he went out there to do. He went out there, and unfortunately, you have a lot of the white community that says that he was just doing something patriotic, of looking out. That goes to show where they place value. They place value on businesses, okay, and not human life. Those white folks that were out there in support, in solidarity for Black Lives Matter, okay? So you have to pull all of that together. And I want to just go back to the statement that Pastor Moultrie made. This is just a sad day in the Black community and in America.
Well, the message also, Ebony, is trying to send to the Black community, because what they look at, and Fox News and that clientele looks at protests as Black people rioting. You know what I'm saying? That's the way they look at protests. So his intention was, like he said, to go out and support the businesses and stuff of that nature, and protect the businesses. That was not the intent. The intent was go out there and shoot somebody. So if he was there to protect those businesses, and if someone had attempted to go towards those businesses, he would have committed the same thing. Might have been more bloodshed, because he left home feeling as though he had a right to do that.
Right.
The same thing in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Those folks think they had a right to kill him. This man is running through a neighborhood, stopped in a house, had nothing to do with them. Tried to lie, so the neighbor had them to protect the house. The owner of the house said that is not true. Just the way that things roll in America. These folks, man, it's amazing. That's why you stay packed up, and gun up. The bottom line, and if we ain't careful, it's gonna roll that way. So you better protect yourself. Get your carry-on permit. You could go online. There's some right online right now, right on our Facebook page. Get your carry-on permit, because it's necessary. Give people no reason why you don't have your stuff on you. And if you want to carry it outside, they done made that a right also. That's their right. But that is just flat out ignorance what's going on right now. And it's fueled by a former president that just that disaster, the insurrectionists we just got rid of. It's shameful.
It is very, very shameful. And the thing about it is, I wanted to put up that Fox News clip to show how some in the white community are celebrating that verdict. They thought that it was just, it was a good verdict. And I also would like to share just some thoughts from Mr. Brandon Upson, who's the president of the Black Caucus, along with one of his guests, that they spoke about this yesterday. Just listen at this first 60 seconds.
Okay, and the reality that he lives in,
nothing was going to happen to him.
Right.
Nothing was going to happen to him. Like,
and
he is on camera walking in front of police officers with an assault rifle. How is that possible? I can't even have a pocket knife. A pocket knife will get me killed, yo.
Yo, you know, some loose cigarettes could get you killed, literally. And I want folks to know.
And I don't even smoke.
I want folks to know that, you know, we're not just on here to cry about how hard or how awful it is to be Black in America, or how awful America is. We're having a conversation about what's right in front of us. You know, is not what do the politicians say now? It's not left or right. It's about right and wrong. We're talking about right or wrong, which should not have any, you know, partisanship or color attached to it, because right and wrong is as clear as day and night. And what we saw and what we're witnessing is wrong, hands down. You know, the fact that he in court was treated like a child, when we have children in our juvenile justice system. And I pulled this statistic earlier today because when I saw how they were treating him and some of the conversations I was viewing on social media over this last week or so, everyone's saying, well, he's just a kid. He didn't know any better. You know, he's just a child. You know, how do we expect him? Or he wasn't threatening. I don't care how old you are. If you have an assault rifle in your hand, you are threatening. It's a threat, right? Especially if you're not on a gun range or if.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and stop it right there. Comments.
The how was obvious. He has the complexion for the protection.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they keep it simple.
Damn, it is what it is. And shout out to Brandon, man, out there doing some good work.
Absolutely.
And he talks about the law, you know, and how it supports the reasoning, you know, for him to just kill someone, you know, based on white privilege, you know, and that's what it boils down to. The law is awful, you know, and the law needs to be not only tweaked but changed. You know, that gun right law needs to change, and assault weapons should not be on the streets. For what purpose?
Right.
Why would you be at a protest with an assault weapon? You have more power in your hands than the police have in their hands. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
How do you control something like that? You get a body of people. Just imagine the KKK. You remember the KKK Act back in 1866, somewhere around there, when it's changed over doing Joseph Rainey reign in Congress. But that was about killing Black people. The act was about killing Black people, and that same act goes today. It's the same KKK act. It's the mindset. It's KKK mindset people, and it's KKK followers that's killing people. And that's what the law is set up for. We need to just call it what it is. Quit playing games with this thing. This is just racial, flat out racial violence. When guns have more rights than people's life, we have a problem. White, Black, whatever. That's a problem. When whites celebrating something like that they are stupid. The bottom line, you don't celebrate that stuff. You know, and Ebony, I don't care if he was innocent in the trial, truly innocent. Why would you celebrate it anyhow? It tells you the mindset of people who celebrate this foolishness. How many Black kids in jail right now? Black boys, underage. Oh, he was underage. Shit, they're underage. 70% of the prison population is blacks underage. So what are we talking about when we talking about this white kid, 17-year-old, sitting up there? He wasn't a minor out on that street. His mother, if he was a minor, his mother should have never dropped him off. They need to charge her. So
they need to charge her because she's responsible for him.
The law based on what we don't need to change the law because the individual wanted a right to kill someone. That's what the law changed for. He wanted a right to kill someone. And the target wasn't those white guys they killed. He feared them because they responded as the blacks usually respond. So they got the end of the deal that blacks would have gotten.
Right.
And he would have shot more people if they were around and if they did not disperse.
Right. Well, Mr. Neal, matter of fact, something that we've been talking about since forever and a day, but specifically we've been talking about this for the past couple of months because we just had elections a few weeks ago, is the importance of local elections. I just want to bring that up. Let me tell you why I want to bring it up, because somebody in the audience, not somebody, Mr. Mutri brought it up. This is why voting on the local level is important. We have to make sure we place the right people in office who have a voice in the judges' appointments. This judge was crazy and biased from the start of the jury selection, well stated by Mr. Mutri. Thank you so much for that comment. This is what we're talking about.
But Ebony, Pastor Mutri hit it right on the head. He always do anyhow, because he understands he's in the justice and civil justice arena. You know, the sad part is we sit home expecting something to happen when everybody else is voting. You know, local election is the most important election of our lifetime. And Georgetown is about to see why that is.
Yep.
First time in the history of Georgetown that the ream have changed. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you had something that you didn't want before,
look out.
Wait until tonight, girl. You know.
Wait until
hey man, you know, if you think you're lonely now, you just wait until tonight. You know what I'm saying? Because night gonna come. You know, it is sad that the black community did not come out the way the leadership of the black community did not show up. And a lot of people saying pastors, ain't just pastors, is leaders. Those that have their voice out there saying they're a leader, those that's out there with all the foolishness, trying to suppress the vote, playing on both sides of the fence for $1. You know, all that's impactful in the black and the local elections. Voting Republican or Democrat, that's a person's right. The NAACP pushed the vote, the bottom line. You know, but it's hard to do that when you pushing one way and folks, you know, on the other end, you know, pushing another way. All of Facebook stupidity and stuff and still going on. You know, the house nigger calls and all kinds of foolishness. What kind of foolishness is that? Grown people on Facebook saying stuff like that. You know, the ignorance, just suppressing women's voice, trying to, because of the fear, you know, control attitude. You know, we just need to talk about it. You know, we got the Tim Scotts and the Herman Cains and all of them out there floating around and stuff, calling themselves, well, I don't, you know, support either one and stuff. You know, you're gonna support something. You can't stay lukewarm.
That part, yeah, one way or the
other. Folks out there on one end, also we pushing the black vote, on the other end, celebrating with the other. You know, how do you do that? You know, it's all out there. Flyers on Facebook, flyers to the community. You know, oh, well, somebody didn't tell me my name was on this. Man, please give me a break. You know, that's childish stuff. You know, it's just flat out childish. They ain't got it all misspelled on and everything else. Just foolish.
Yep.
Foolish behavior, like a child, wanting somebody to respond to that foolishness. I tell the people, nobody responds to it.
Right.
Cancer will dissolve itself. Cancer will dissolve itself. The bottom line. Because it consistently eat after you if you don't get a cure for it. And ain't no cure for cancer. So leave cancer alone. because that is cancer.
Well,
Cut it out or leave it alone. You can only get rid of it or leave it alone. So leave it alone. It will get rid of itself. It will dissolve itself. You know,
well, I tell
it's
you
just
what,
crazy.
the importance of local election is apparent in so many different things. I believe Georgetown County is the only city that's on the coast that still does not have some recycling and the use of plastic, or the reducing the use of plastic. And we sit on the water. You know, that's why local elections are important. We're going through redistricting, you know, census counting, things of that nature. The monies that come in, we just had meetings here about the American Rescue Funds meeting. You know, those people who are put in place, they get to choose how that money, we are supposed to be the ones that choose how the money is being spent. But at the end of the day, those people who we elect have a strong pull on exactly how that money is spent. We have another comment here by Mr. Moultrie.
Hey, he hit it on the head again. He always does. You know, man, I wish he was back in Georgetown running for office. It'd be so nice. Because I'm gonna tell you something. You need leaders with a voice that's willing to stand, and folks running for office that's willing to stand. We had some strong new leaders coming out. You know what I'm saying? And the community should have got behind them at least. If they wanted change, that was an opportunity for change in the Black community. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to dispel the whole bunch. You know what I'm saying? You could cut the cancer out. You know,
right.
That's
it.
That's just keeping it real. You know, you cut the cancer out. You know,
Well,
and it's going to take a movement to get things back in place. When you have a CARES Act and a rescue plan that don't identify the care and the rescue, who they're rescuing, other than those that don't need rescuing, we got a problem. When the Black community got to come out at a local meeting and say, "Hey, we're not in the plan." So who's drawing up the plan? The question: who's drawing up the plan?
Well, you know, Mr. Neal, same thing I have said before. When it comes down to this particular money that, you know, is being allocated or spent in Georgetown, I want to put up on the screen here the name of the pot of money. It's called the American Rescue Funds. About in the tune of $4 million was given to Georgetown City, okay, to allocate for different things. There was guidelines about how that money should be spent. And when you look at the plan, I see plans of future projects, which is nothing wrong with that per se. But if it's called the American Rescue Fund, that means it's designed to rescue people. I don't see where nobody's being rescued. We have senior citizens, we have folks who still are trying to get out of the hole as a result of the pandemic.
And it was designed for that, Ebony. You know, you can't rescue something that did not exist. Okay?
Right.
You can only rescue those things that's existing. So if you have existing flooding problems in the West End, you have existing lighting, you have existing home renovations that's needed, shortcoming of homes, all those things are part of rescue out of the pandemic. You have people that fell short just from the pandemic, from being sick, lost their jobs, lights still out. It's cold, 38 degrees in Georgetown, down to 34 this week. No gas, you know, bills out of the yang, you know, but that's what you rescue. That's how you rescue people, to bring them out of a condition. Here we are trying to build future projects for the high risers that's about to come. We're trying to build an infrastructure for that with a plan that has nothing to do with it. That's future stuff.
Yep.
And we need to get people that could really recognize that. We got councils out there talking, just give $900,000 to each one of the community. That's not rescuing. You're giving money to folks that don't need rescuing.
Right.
So
you have to identify those people.
Yeah. So if you take and identify the needs of the county based on the pandemic, the money should be going majority to the West End or all to the West End. I don't hear nobody else crying out there but a need.
Mr. Neal. But yes, and I'm glad that Mr. Mucci brought up this topic here, the importance of local elections. And before we were pushing get out to vote, we didn't tell people who to vote for, but just trying to educate people, on your right and your duty to vote. But this is why it's important, because that judge, in regards to the Rittenhouse verdict, all right, they let that child go, dropped all the charges.
Also,
And it's because of someone who was elected, that was proud to push that particular stance.
but check it out, Ebony. This young man walked, okay? We've had students, okay, right in the rural area, black boys, that walked out with body shackles on for a 5-second fight. A punch, head hit the desk, walked himself down to the office.
Mm-hmm.
They walked out with body shackles on with a racket that had to get expunged for them to move forward. Honest students. And good thing we had a decent judge in place, because I ran to the judge before they even got there. They said, hey, these boys are coming, and this is a problem. And this is why this is a problem. She wiped it. You know what I'm saying? She wiped it. That's why it's important. So important that we keep judges in place. That's going to look at things from a standpoint of reality and what's practical. Because every decisions don't need to be destruction of a child's life. If that was the case, man, I won't be where I am today. Not that I'm any further along, it's just prayer of a mother, actually, and good teachers. But some of these children, they don't have the good teachers anymore. And some of them don't have the prayer of the mother anymore. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else has to pray for the mother and the child. And that's what we're dealing with. And the system that we're dealing with. And that's where all the cultural change have happened in the Black community. That's where the cry for critical race theory. Don't teach that stuff. But children need to understand what happened, what is happening, and what's about to happen, and what's going to happen in the future. Like I keep saying, 1619 to 1870, we trying to figure out. That's where the critical race theory is coming at. Beyond that, you know what I'm saying? We talking about Emancipation Proclamation and everything else.
Right.
But before that, that's when the KKK was fighting for a bill and all this other foolishness.
Well, Mr. Neal, it's not funny, but it's just amazing how judges like the one that sat during this Rittenhouse trial are the same folks, elected folks, that do not want critical race theory. So can you imagine a group of people that are so ashamed of their history that they would rather it not be taught in school, that they would rather for the lies to continue, like this whole Christopher Columbus founded America, and it's something that has been ingrained inside of us. We're getting ready to have Thanksgiving next week. We're about to break bread, and they paint this image that they came over and they were in this unity pack with the Pilgrims and the Native Americans and this, that, and the third. And the reality is, for the most part, they came over, befriended these Native Americans. They got their trust, and they turned right around and killed them. They destroyed. That is the narrative, the historical narrative of the European community. They want to find, conquer, destroy, steal, take over. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing that's going on right now. We're having issues with gentrification. It's the same concept. It's to buy, in this case, or take over, to conquer, to demolish, and place what I want to place there, in no regards to the preservation of the heritage and the people that live in those places. This is what we see here. This is what we see, white supremacy. And it's crazy because I read an article this morning. I don't know how much validity it has to it, that Rittenhouse and some of his folks are actually trying to push defamation of character on President Biden for calling for saying that it is all about white supremacy. But that is exactly what it is. We have to start calling a spade and stop tap dancing around all this stuff that we're looking at. So
defamation of character. Boy.
Against President Biden. Yeah.
Wow. Yep. I guess Dr. King and Malcolm X and, Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela, they would live in the courthouse if defamation of character was an issue. In this case, it's crazy, because he said what he said, pushing defamation of character. It's always getting away from what the real narrative is.
Absolutely.
Let's distract. Let's find out not what's wrong in the case. Oh, what could have been wrong or what could have happened if something else had happened. No, we need to talk about what happened. And that's what President Biden did. He said what happened, and he said the jury made a decision. You know what I'm saying? But one thing, Ebony, they need to go with those that add two of those Supreme Court justice to the Supreme Court and move on. Bottom line, they need to get to that point. Because what's happening right now is about packing the courts with racist white judges. As you've seen, that man is a flat out KKK, if nothing else. To sit there and say what he said to the prosecutor, it's just crazy.
Right. Mr.
Crazy.
Neal,
he was like somebody that walked out off the streets, and they put him in that seat up there and say, "You the judge." Right.
Yeah.
Pick.
What we're seeing is, in my opinion, is a reversal of justice. I think at every given point, they try to use policies to reverse what justice looks like. Let me show you another way that we've seen that is the impact of what the January 6th insurrection, even that we're talking about one guy now, Rittenhouse, but look at, you had, how many people were at the insurrection? They're talking about 20, 30,000 people in one place. Yeah. And there are groups of people that sit here and say that it was okay for them to do that. They were only fulfilling their patriotic duties. In the meantime, you got folks climbing all over the place.
But Ebony, they breaking out windows at the Capitol there, breaking out windows with flags and everything else. Now, when they're marching in the streets and windows are being broken, there's something wrong with that. But it's patriotic when white folks do it at the Capitol. At the Capitol.
This is what they want to do. This is what they want to do. They want to go back to how things were in the past. This is what they want. It's sickening. It is a shame. I want to show this last picture right here. And what it does, it shows the difference. Okay. At the bottom, you got the Trumpsters, and at the top, this is how it would be. This is how it was during the Black Lives Matter rally, and it was a peaceful protest. You see the difference? Look at the difference in how the Black folks were in support of Black people versus in support of one man, Donald Trump.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's in the same presidency, Ebony. The two pictures are in the same presidency. The second picture was set up by the president. The insurrection, and those that's fighting against information coming out. What kind of foolishness is that? Wanting Biden to call presidential privilege. You have a deadbeat that's been kicked out of the White House talking about presidential privilege. What kind of foolishness is that?
I ain't never heard of that. Presidential privileges.
So it tells America that it was all right what they did. I've been to the Capitol building. We've been there. And with kids, Wesley Gibson, the kids, me and Marilyn, all of us been there one time. And we did not use flagpoles to get into the White House. We didn't use no flagpoles. We went there and you went through a scanner and you went on in and you did your business. You greet or meet who you wanted to meet. I didn't see them meet any congressmen in the House of Representatives there. They was behind the wall hiding, trying to barricade the room. They didn't do that
Right.
when we were there. They was in the hallway greeting us, taking pictures. You know, this is what happened when we went there now. When we went there. Now, when the insurrection happened, that was not the case. That was not a normal day at the White House, at the Capitol.
Nope.
Look at that.
Nope.
You know,
I
flat
mean, you
out.
got folks out there with
Mike-
nooses.
Mike Pence. That's about. You know, they could do that.
You know what's bad? What's really sad? Look at how young this boy is in this picture with a noose.
He might be 17 or 18.
He might be 17 or 18, but yet he was out there during the insurrection. And so when you have verdicts like Rittenhouse that was passed and the person was let off, when you have instances like the insurrection, what it does, it further opens the door for chaos to happen. It further opens the door for civil
unrest.
A civil war could break out. We're not beyond a civil war popping off. And
well, they are arming. We have armed America for a civil war. That's where the gun laws come in at. But you know, we can't be blind to it as blacks or people of color. Also, you have to make sure the same thing that they're doing, you do the same thing. You arm yourself. The same law that they put in place for us, it fits them also. You know, guy the other day got shot in a gun shop. Got shot and killed by the gun shop owner.
Wow.
When I went there to purchase my weapon, you know, they wanted me to go out on the range there. And I was, man, I'm not going on no range. I don't need to go on no range. I've been doing this all my life. Well, I need a range in that gun shop. You ain't going to kill me in there. I ain't no fool. Ain't no rounds going to fly around me unless it's flying from me also. Ain't nobody going to be shooting nothing around me. Got no time for that because I don't want to hear no excuse. It was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know?
And that's all they'll be able to say.
Oh, yeah.
Just for them to be able to get off on it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy. But now, is there anything else that you would like to say, Mr. Neal, as we need to share some information about the COVID impacts? Anything you want to say about this trial here, getting off not guilty?
Well, like the family said, it's not over. And whatever needs to happen to support the law and support justice in America, we have to continue to fight together. It can't be no black people or white people or Indians. We got to do this thing together. That's what's showing up, you know, and that's the same way we have to vote together. You can't separate votes and win no election. You can't have no black vote and white vote and no one come to this community because you're white or you're black and all that. You need to do this thing together because it's foolishness foolishness cost Georgetown, you know, the Democratic Party lose that election. It was right there in their hands. Mm-hmm. But Facebook took it away.
Yep.
Payouts took it away. Behind the scenes, collecting dollars take it away. That's what took it away.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to figure it out. That's what it is. It is what it is. Name calling ain't gonna get it back. All it do is identify and try to distract from what really happened. You can't take the dollars on one side and say I'm doing something on the other. It don't work that way because it shows up. It shows up in the presentation of those who won. They said thank you for your support to those who helped supported them, and that's what they did. So don't try to throw no distraction out. They said what they said for a reason. Okay.
That's right. That's it. So now, thank you, Mr. Neal. We appreciate everyone for joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by Georgetown Branch number 5520, where we're here to educate, motivate, and activate. And as we wrap up today's show, we appreciate you so much for coming on today. We really do. Tell others about us. Also, a big announcement. We now have a YouTube page, so you can catch us live on YouTube. We're airing live right now on on YouTube, and I'm going to put a link down in the description box. We want you to like our page that, and also click the notification bell that lets you know when we are live. Also, if you want to go back and watch some of our other videos that we've put on, you can find all of that at the YouTube page. Thank you so much. And finally, last but not least, and shout out to the president of the Marion branch, Mr. Hemingway. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Marvin.
All right.
You
We're
know,
going to.
and Marion branch have their page going now also. They spotlight page. It's going. A lot of the NAACP branches are going that way, which is great. You have to get information out to the people. You know, we're not always perfect, but hey, we can shine a light of hope. You know what I'm saying? And opportunities. You know, because we have done some things in the past weeks, Ebony, and I'm going to jump off it with the housing rental assistance. We're going to come back, but we are following up on the ones that we have done already. But we are coming back because that program is open up until September of next year. You know, so we're going to continue to try to fulfill those things to help people come out of these conditions, of these back rents, because the moratorium ended the 3rd of October of this year. So these homeowners now, and those that own the property owners, they're asking for their money, and they have a right to. So what it does, it helps them out and helps the folks that's staying there to continue to live there. We can't have people put on the streets. So the rental assistance, you know, utility bills, moving costs, displacement costs, all that is a part of it for that reason, to make sure everybody stays sound. We don't need no more people on the streets, especially now. You know, it's wintertime. You know, so let's help everybody we can. We'll get back out there in the near future. You know, and also we got to understand that voting, census, redistricting all plays the major role in democracy. You know, because it all plays a major role, because redistricting, all that comes from census.
That's it.
And it's going to dictate your voting precinct. You know, reappropriations is going to dictate what happens in your voting precinct. And just recently, the languages trying to change from 3 minority-majority districts in Georgetown to 2. You know, and one of the councilmen stated to me that that's a good thing for Black people. No, that's diluting the voting power of the Black community.
That's right.
Why would you give up a whole precinct? Want to shift the Black voting power in Georgetown, the city of Georgetown, want to shift that to Debbie. Ain't no Black people in Debbie. Why would you do that? Huh?
Right. Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? That's
exactly,
why
Mr. Neal.
People understand what redistricting does and why we need to be involved. And we already submitted the map from the NAACP. And people need to know that we have submitted a map that will retain all 3 districts when redistricting. So when time to vote on that bill, vote on that bill coming to the county council, everybody need to be out there to show their face. Because sometimes trickery and undermining plays a major role, as it did in the affordable housing project. So we have to make sure that folks ain't sitting there talking with sustain and all this foolishness. They need to vote.
That's right.
They ain't vote, you need to vote them out. The bottom line, you don't need no councilman that can't vote on these things that protects and affect you. Vote them out. I don't care if they're Black, white, or whoever. Vote them out.
Vote them out, no matter the color.
Vote them out. And quit voting in for these folks because they're your family members and all that foolishness.
Right. You know? That's right. That's it.
Gold catchers running for county council, all kind of fool. Man, vote them folks out.
That's it. That's right. You know, in my family, we have this saying, I don't care if you're family or not family. If you're not doing the right thing, we're going to vote against you too. We love you, but we're not going to vote for you if you are not doing the right thing for the people. So now something that we want to change gears to as we wrap up our program is the COVID-19 updates and the impact in the community. I know that Mr. Neal, you had some information about COVID being on the rise, but Ms. Shaniqua, actually with Thailand, they actually now are going to be doing some clinics for the children. Now children can be vaccinated. You can always go to their website and explore their COVID-19 Vaccine Resource Center. You can find information there about the vaccine, the booster, as well as getting your child ready for getting that vaccine. Mr. Neal?
Ebony is so important. If we let up on this COVID, because people now with that's been fully vaccinated without the booster still being affected by COVID-19. They're not dying, but they're still being affected. Some of them going to the hospital and back home. But they're living with COVID. But the key is to get vaccinated. Number two, get the booster, because that's critical now, and it shows how that booster works. I got boosted as soon as it came out. But we have to get our children vaccinated because they're still the spreaders. And those that's not vaccinated, we walk around foolishly getting comfortable again. They just reported this morning COVID on the rise 45%.
Right.
That's crazy. So we have to wake up, and our leaders need to wake up and keep putting this stuff out. Keep letting people know that COVID is not gone away yet. We're too comfortable.
Right.
Protect yourself. People walking by looking at me because I'm wearing my mask like something wrong with me. No, something wrong with you. Bottom line.
Exactly. There's so many people walking around.
Yeah.
Also, something we want people to know, please talk to your doctor, your healthcare professional. But many people, a lot of people, and let me get this little part here out of the way. Keep in mind not only the COVID vaccine, the flu vaccine as well. You can get them together. Many people are eligible, but talk with your healthcare provider, talk with someone over at Tidelands. They can help you figure out if you can just go ahead and knock them out all at one time.
Ebony, if you have noticed, since this COVID came out and Delta virus, have you noticed? I haven't heard anyone with a cold or flu.
Yeah, people are.
I'm saying it's not because of the COVID shots. I think it's because of the protection of the mask.
The mask.
It's the mask that folks out there running around talking don't work. Masks always worked.
Right.
You don't think it's work? Go up to that hospital on that floor with folks with COVID without your mask on. Give them a big hug. Folks running around that foolishness.
Right.
But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I haven't heard anyone call for with the flu yet, Ebony, since COVID started. And I'm trying to think of someone that might say they had the flu or something. I haven't heard of anyone even say they had a cold.
Mm-hmm.
I might continue to wear the mask even after this thing being declared because it's a safety posture.
That's it. And Mr. Neal, I will say this. This is a quote that our very own Dr. Winston McGiver has. He says, when health becomes political, people will die, and that is for sure. Please stay vigilant. And like Mr. Neal said, wear your face mask. I know I still do when I'm in a public area and there are a lot of people around and everything. Keep wearing it. It's amazing how the mindset of people, we're going back to Rittenhouse here. People thought that it was okay for that verdict. People think that the insurrection, that it was right for those people to go out there and stop the justice system to count those electoral college votes. Okay. Now we also have people, when it comes down to COVID-19, they believe that it was okay for even their people to die. They're so patriotic that they say, go back to work. You don't have to wear a face mask. You don't have to protect yourself. You don't have to protect others. Just go back to work. And they say even the ones that died was worth it because they were serving their country and it was their patriotic duty. Just think about that mindset and what we are dealing with. We're not going to be able to change these people, which is why it's so important for people to go out and vote. The only thing that you can do is change policy and keep those who are in place accountable.
And Ebony, you hit it on the head. That's why you have to be so careful you put in power, because some things need to be mandated, like the vaccines for school for these kids and all that. Imagine the same mindset if they were to send their kids to school without vaccination. Remember what the measles did for America?
Yes.
Chicken pox.
Wipe us out.
All the stuff. Man, if we did not have the vaccine and if it wasn't mandated, it would have wiped us out.
Yeah.
Ebola crisis. We met it in the country where it started at. But we
Right.
couldn't do that with COVID because we had a president was trying to make deal over there with China. You know,
Right.
dollars buying merchants and selling clothes over and all this foolishness and stuff. You know, it just was stupid. How could we even allow stuff like that to happen? The daughter becomes the right hand of the president, and that qualifies her because she's the president's child. All this foolishness we had going on, the son-in-law and stuff over the negotiation with Saudi Arabia, crooks.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I'm saying?
right.
Killers of humanity. They negotiating with.
Right. You know,
So
so
election pays it. I mean, we pay a price when we don't put the right people in office. It's important.
that's right.
It's so important. And they can't say it enough. Stand in the cold, whatever. You know, you can't.
Yep.
Now you got places that saying you can't handle a bottle of water in election line, Georgia law. The
Right.
Santos in Florida, this foolish stuff you got going, this clown in Texas, governor.
Right.
And the
Right.
sad part, I mean, you have some of them right now that they have had COVID. Look at Governor McMaster. He got a little serious after him and his wife got it. But
Mhm.
it took that. It took a man, he about 70 years old and ignorant. You know, just flat out ignorant. Tom Rice, same thing. Ignorant.
Same thing.
Man can
Same
stand
thing.
up in an audience and say $25 an hour was great because it keep Mexicans from coming to America and take our jobs. Ignorant.
That's
Flat out
that's
ignorant.
racist.
Then you
It's
got
racist.
yeah.
And it's inhumane. It's also inhumane. You know, it's just it's foolery.
It's the mindset that they have about humanity.
Mhm.
You know, here it is, gave themselves 100% raise, but somebody was $7.25 an hour. Why you gave yourself 100% raise if that's the case?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So,
Right. That's crazy.
hey, because
Well-
they think we on the bottom of the totem pole because they're controlling the job market. You know,
Right.
that's the reasoning behind it. And
Get
Mexicans
your
don't take
children
nobody's
vaccinated.
job.
That's it. Folks, get your children vaccinated.
Yeah.
Now, I think now up to 5 years old can get vaccinated. You can get more information at the website, DHEC website, as well as our local hospital system, Tylen's Hospital. Go on there and find out when you can go. They're also going to be having clinics for your children. The impact of COVID has been great. This is the part that we don't talk about. In South Carolina alone, we've lost over 80 teachers. When I say lost, I mean they died. Okay.
Yeah,
you also have from COVID, and you also have some that caught it, but they are sick and unable to return. So that is also a loss. We were already short staffed before the pandemic. So now we're 80 teachers short. Trust and believe while you're sending your child to school, many of them are being taught by temporary teachers who are not licensed. And thank God for the temps. Thank God for them, but that's not how school is designed to be. School is not designed for whole classrooms to run all year long without a certified teacher being in that spot. This is the impact that it's not only having on everything else. When you say it's my choice whether my child should wear a mask or not, understand it's not only about your child. It's about those people who are caring for them when they are not in your hands. When they're at your school, you have to understand that more than 53% of the faculty and staff of these schools have teachers and staff that have some type of underlying health condition that makes them vulnerable. So keep sending your kids to school, either not vaccinated or not wearing a mask. See how long this keeps up before we don't have any teachers left and the whole system crumbles. I would even say that these teachers need to pull together on their own so that something can be done to protect them.
And Ebony, that is so true. You know, and you leading into another subject we'll deal with at the end of the month, though. But it's so important because it shows the failure of leadership when that much teacher died because we failed to lead from the beginning, and that's what it boils down to. You know, our governor, they led with politics, and Dr. McKeever said it the right way. You know, these politicians cause people to die when you're not vaccinated. You know, we have to make sure we get our children's vaccinated. Everything that I know of that's coming to my household is vaccinated, except the ones that can't. Bottom line, my grandchildren, all of them, they are vaccinated. My daughters, they are vaccinated. and you have to push that. You know, that's just leadership. If you're not up front and leading, well, who's leading? You know, we all over the place with that. So our governor, county councils, city council, administrators, they have to lead. They have to lead. Because without that, we're going to fail. You're on mute, Ebony.
Sorry about that. We appreciate everyone for joining today's Spotlight, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 11 o'clock. Miss Marilyn's going to be hosting that show. It's going to have some really good topics. Just know that the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. We push this for what's right. What is right? There's a difference between right and wrong, and that's what we promote. This is also why we can't wait, and also why we must tell our own story, which is actually the theme for 2021, the NAACP. If you have a topic that you would like to talk about, go ahead and post it. We can try to do some investigation, some due diligence, and maybe even be able to bring that topic online today. We appreciate you all so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, have a good weekend.
Hey, thank you, Pastor Murtry. Take care. Hey, great job from being supposed to be paralyzed to back riding his back and preaching again. It tells a story, don't it? That's what God does. That's a man of faith. And he told him from the beginning, he's going to walk again. That's huge.
He said that on the show.
He said it on the show. The doctors done it, gave up on him. Where is he at now? Back in his church, doing his daily chores. Then went back to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Yep.
And you got some folks right now, if they were in this condition, they'd have ride it on out. I'm going to get my Social Security. I can't do this. I can't do that.
Right. Keep pushing.
He know he's been blessed. He keep pushing. That's what it's all about. That's a leader.
Stronger. That's it. Strong
That's a
leadership.
Yeah, it shows that we are made for more.
For sure. Have a good day, y'all.
Take care, Ebony. Thanks for coming on.
All right.